All right, I think that we are going to get started. Wow, this is a new venue for us, being in our gym, and it looks absolutely lovely to see it so filled with so many people that we know. Good evening. We are so excited to have you here today to help us celebrate two momentous occasions: celebration of our 60th anniversary and the unveiling of our new name. For the next half hour, and for the last half hour ever, I am Rupal Saran, the Executive Director of the Literacy Council of Northern Virginia. Welcome to the next chapter. Over the past 60 years, LCNV has served 60,000 adult learners, helping them to speak, read, and write English. We are so proud of LCNV's legacy and the positive effect that we've had in the community. However, our organization is growing, and our name has its limitations. After a year of conducting extensive research and engaging over 350 stakeholders, we determined that an organizational rebrand could help us to better communicate who we are today, inform people about the transformative impact of what we do, and convey our hopes for their futures. I want to recognize everyone who has helped us to get to this day. Our own staff rebrand team, who has left no detail untouched or uncovered, and to help us to get to today. Our staff design team, whose creativity truly knows no bounds. Just take a look at how beautifully decorated this space is. Our home, our headquarters here at the James Lee Community Center. I want to recognize many former staff and many former board members for your continued enthusiasm for our work. It is so, so special to have you all here with us today. I also want to thank the team at the James Lee Community Center. We absolutely could not do this work without you. From the opportunity to share this space with you to the very, very warm welcome that you give to every student as they walk through this door. It is our honor and our pleasure to do this work together. I also see many of our community partners, our fellow community partners here tonight. Thank you so much for being here to support us on this very special day. We really love working with so many organizations who care about the same things that we do. I want to thank many of you here who are some of our donors or organizational funders for the continued support that you have for our work. And I want to acknowledge our learners. Many of you are here tonight, and it is really special to have you here for this great celebration. I would especially like to recognize a few people who have joined us tonight. These are all true constants in our work, and we're honored that they're able to be with us. And I'm looking around because I didn't look to see where y'all were sitting. So AP from Senator Warner's office. There we go. And Maddie White from Congressman Connolly's office. And I'm told that we have Gaston Arroz Rivera from Senator Kane's office. I think I do that every time, I'm sorry. Senator Kane's office, I know he'll be walking through the door in a moment. And he's right here, so. I want to recognize Chris Scales, Division Director at Neighborhood and Community Services. Great. So we embarked on this rebrand journey more than a year ago after applying for and receiving a pro bono skills-based volunteer project from Accenture, who then gave us this tremendous team of volunteers who are experts in strategy, in design, in marketing. We have learned so much from you and truly appreciate the way that you always put our mission and our priorities and our people first and foremost. The Accenture team members, and please stand if you're here, and I know only a few of you are here today, but we are so appreciative of the work that you've done. But the team members are Kelly Blackwell, Kate Davis, Catherine Elliott, Sarah Krischer, Becky Roche, Cynthia Samaha, and Michael Gavin. Again, thank you for all the significant time and talent that you have brought to this project. To kick off our program tonight, I am pleased to invite U.S. Department of Education Assistant Secretary Amy Lloyd to the stage. Assistant Secretary Lloyd oversees the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education. I know, I got your bio from a press release. She has an extensive background in education in the nonprofit sector and has designed and led programs across the United States that improve education and workforce outcomes for people and strengthen communities. Most recently, Dr. Lloyd was a vice president at Jobs for the Future, where she led the organization's programs in college and career pathways. And she previously was the director of education at Cook Inlet Tribal Council, leading a network of schools and programming, providing comprehensive, culturally responsive education training and wraparound services to the Alaska Native and Native American communities. Assistant Secretary Lloyd has had the chance to see our programs firsthand, most recently visiting with one of our classes and conversing with our students as they requested her advice on how they could take the educational and job experiences that they have had in their countries and apply them to be able to work in the United States. She's an advocate for adult education, and she knows that our work over the past 60 years continues to be extremely vitally important in our community and for the future. So Amy Lloyd, we've been really appreciative for your enthusiasm for our programs for newly arrived immigrants, and we're thrilled to have you here tonight.
Actually, can you hear me like that? Okay, all right, wonderful. Keshe, buenos noches, good evening. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you tonight. This is a really important occasion as you unveil the name of the new name of your organization, as you reflect on the last 60 years and look ahead to the next 60 years. I think about how important names are. Names are such an incredibly important part of our identity. Like, they carry our deep personal, cultural, familial, and historical connections. They give us a sense of who we are, the communities in which we belong, our place in the world, the places we want to go. Like, names matter. And I'm really excited to learn the name of this wonderful organization and the power that it will bring to the communities that you serve, that you work with, that you embody. So speaking of names, I'm Amy Lloyd. As Rupal said, I am the Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, overseeing the Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education, known as OCTAE, because we love a good acronym, OCTAE. And at OCTAE, we have the honor of administering Title II of these federal funds called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which focuses on adult education and family literacy. We also administer funding from the Perkins Act, Federal Perkins Program, which funds career and technical education. We work across secondary and post-secondary education. We also lead work focused on expanding and strengthening the career-connected learning, community colleges, and correctional education. But when I think about what we do with adult education, we support at the federal level adult education in two different ways. So one is that we provide formula grants to states to fund adult education programming. Another is that we have a separate pot of money for national leadership activities that allow us to support states and locals in kind of innovative ways in improving the quality and outcomes of adult education and literacy services. But when I take a big step back from the federal policy and from the technicalities of what we do, like, ultimately, we are here as a service agency to serve you, to learn from you, to ensure that everything that we do with the Department of Education is responsive to what you need and what our communities need to strengthen our people, to make sure that they have the connections and the support they need to be successful. So your efforts, the efforts here at the organization formerly known as the Literacy Council, you're working to level the playing field for adults, and either adults who have not been previously served well by our education system, adults who are newcomers to our country. I had such a wonderful time meeting recently with a class of students who are recent relocators from Afghanistan. And as Rupal mentioned, like, they were asking me tough questions about, all right, in my home country, one was an OBGYN, another was a math teacher. And they bring such incredible brilliance and capacity and skills and credentials that our country desperately needs in our workforce. And they are receiving supports to strengthen their English literacy, strengthen their communication, get some workforce readiness skills through the services that the organization formerly known as LCNB provides. And they were asking me, now, what do I do to get into the healthcare field here? What do I do to get into education? And the work of adult education and family literacy across our country is to do exactly this, to give people the opportunity to achieve their goals and dreams. Adult education is such an essential on-ramp for post-secondary education, for career opportunities. And we in the Biden-Harris administration are totally committed to supporting this field and fostering these opportunities. Thank you, everyone in the room, for your hard work, your dedication in this space. I know being on the front lines of this work is not easy. And none of us, asked to live or lead through a pandemic in the past 2.5 years have made our work even more challenging. And all of us have risen to the occasion to engage in high quality education and community connection services. And organizations like that, formerly known as LCNB, are the reasons that we are able to advance the field of adult education. And so I know everyone in the room is here for some reason, like some of you work as a staff or a volunteer with this organization. Some of you are current or former students. I'm so excited that we have learners in the room with us. You are the reason that we are all here. And you know how valuable this organization is, or you're connected to the community in some way and you're here to celebrate this occasion. And no matter what your role is, I'm just so excited to be in a room full of champions for adult education, and I'm glad to be here. So our administration knows the magnitude of this work. It's huge and it's too large for us to ignore. So over 40 million, there are different tests and different ways to read the data, but one test demonstrates to us that we have over 43 million adults in our country who cannot read, write, or do basic math at the 3rd grade level. And when we take a step back and we think about what our country needs, we stand to reap tremendous rewards of serving more adults better. Whether it's adults who were born in this country and were not well served by our education system and are struggling with basic numeracy or literacy, whether it's newcomers to our country, our immigrant friends and colleagues and community members, we need to expand our ecosystem of support for adult education so that we can catalyze and sustain what works. I was recently reading a report that estimated that if we brought all adults in our country to a 6th grade reading level, our country could generate an additional $2.2 trillion. $2.2 trillion. That's 10% of our nation's GDP and annual income for the US economy. So then I think, imagine what we could do, what we can achieve if we aim higher and collectively strive to bring the millions of adults in our country toward high quality post-secondary credentials, toward preparation for employment and good jobs with family sustaining wages, benefits, real options for lifelong economic and social mobility and career advancement. So we know we have the tools to reach this higher goal, and we're excited to do things like research-based integrated education and training programs that blend basic skills and workforce preparation and workforce training and specific high growth, high demand occupations. But we know that all of these innovations require significant programmatic changes, curriculum development, contextualized instruction, thinking about how we learn online. The class I got to attend of students from Afghanistan were virtual class. And we learned through the pandemic that we had to meet our learners where they were. We know this intuitively as educators. But we learned through the pandemic that, we reduce the need for transportation or childcare. We lessen the burden for engaging in adult education if we can think about new ways of approaching and thinking about partnership differently and employer engagement and how I was just talking to Ramona earlier, how we think about a whole community as a network of providers of basic needs and social supports. So we've invested a lot of national leadership dollars from Octave to design and deliver technical assistance in this space. We are about to launch a $3.5 million multi-year project to extend the reach of our technical assistance to all states and territories over the next 3 years to refine how we bring together adult education and workforce training and ensure that we're producing outcomes that transform lives. And I know that our limited budget only goes so far. We at the federal level we're grateful for the funds that we do have for our basic state grants and our national activities. And we're grateful for the broader community partnerships and the other funders and partners in this space, because it really does take a village. It takes all of us together to build high quality adult education programs. And so that's why I'm grateful when I get to work with, learn from, be with all of you, when I get to hear from Rupal and organizations like the organization formerly known as LCNB about the challenges that you're facing, about how you're sustaining operations, about how you're setting a big, bold vision to grow and do even more for your students, for your communities, while thinking about the startup costs or the shifts of the modalities of how you're teaching and learning, program redesign, teacher recruitment, professional development, how we lift up adult education to stand in its power and to really, not only serve people, their families, and our community, but strengthen our economies, strengthen our nation, strengthen our workforce, strengthen our future. I spent the past weekend 3 days at a retreat in California with leading adult education philanthropy leaders, corporate leaders, leading adult education advocacy organizations. We came together around a small table to talk about how do we reimagine the future of this field? What do we need to think differently about how we collectively co-design, co-create, co-deliver high quality services. And I'm just so excited to see the innovation that the organization formerly known as LCNB is leading the way in some of the directions that we know we need to go as a field. Like there are great things on the horizon in adult education. I firmly believe in the power and the promise it has to empower people. I'm getting a cue from all those little books that say empowerment in the back. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, that's a great word, because what we do is all about transforming lives, providing opportunities, and empowering people to be their best selves, to be who we already know them to be, full of power, potential, possibility, and bright futures. And so as you move forward with your work and with a new organizational name, I know that the organization will continue to embody the values, the mission, the dedication that you've had to this work over the past 60 years. And we look forward to the great things you're going to do in the next 60 years. So think of us at the U.S. Department of Education as allies to your work, supports to your work. We're here to be in service to you and to learn from you. So if there's anything that I can do or my team can ever do, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to it. You do a lovely job. Yeah. Let's practice that.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and we have a small gift of our appreciation, but you can't open it,
Okay.
because it has a meaning. Thank you so much. I am so pleased to this way. There we go. I am pleased to introduce Michael Gavin, President of our Board of Directors. And I would really, I see so many of our current and our former board members in the audience. Would you please raise your hands and be recognized? Thank you for all that you do.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And thank you, Rupal. On behalf of the board, I just want to say welcome. We are so excited that all of you are here tonight to join in this celebration, both reflecting on the 60 incredible years of the Literacy Council of Northern Virginia and this remarkable occasion of unveiling our new name and brand. We as board members are so excited to be here at this point of LCNB's history. It's interesting because as board members, we're not only energized by this specific moment, we also are always energized by hearing about the accomplishments of our learners. And we understand that there are so many pieces that all need to come together, almost like a puzzle, to be able to develop strong programs that serve LCNB learners everywhere. Everything from curriculum design to partnership with now more than 18 physical locations where LCNB classes are taught, development of virtual programs, outreach and registration, training our new students, recruiting volunteers, training instructors, all of the communication work that happens, all of the basic operations, financial management, grant writing, the list goes on and on. And it's obvious that there are so many people who come in connection with this organization, the name and the brand. And Amy, as you said, that's why names matter so much. So when Rupal, Mike, and the staff approached us on the board, just a little less than, I think, 2 years ago, with the first idea of, hey, what do y'all think about a rebrand? We were very interested to explore this a little bit further. It piqued our interest and we wanted to test the waters. We had the same questions that the staff did around kind of what did our stakeholders, including students, volunteers, partners, and donors think? Would they think that a name change is a good idea or a bad idea? Why or why not? Those we asked, as Rupal said, we interviewed, 350 stakeholders through this process, overwhelmingly agreed that it was time to explore a new name and a new brand for the organization. And why was that? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what we heard that might provide a tiny sneak peek into what you're about to see. We heard from many people that the name Literacy Council, or those words, seemed a little outdated and maybe unfamiliar. We also heard that with the addition of virtual and distance programming, we were now serving learners and students well beyond the Northern Virginia area. And we also heard that the name of this organization should really, at its heart, convey what learning English means for our learners. So that's a little sneak peek, and Rupal's going to tell you a little more.
We, along with our team from Accenture, got a very long list of names. We downsized that list of names. We started looking at logos. We tested out those names. We looked at colors. We looked at layouts. We talked to teachers. We talked to lawyers. We talked to trademark people. We talked to students, a lot of students. We talked to volunteers. We talked to donors. We wanted to figure out what sounded good, what could be used, what felt inspiring, what could be remembered. And after checking our many boxes, we finally came down to a new name and brand, bringing us here tonight. So I'm going to ask Patty Donnelly, our former LCNB Executive Director, to come on up to the stage. We were hoping to also be joined by LCNB's first executive director, but she called me this morning and she's a bit out with a cold, so wasn't able to make it. But I had a chance to speak with both Patty and Jean in the last couple of weeks to reminisce about what LCNB means to us, what it has meant to lead this organization, what it has meant to serve this community, and the privilege it has been to work with unbelievable staffs all the way through to be able to fulfill our goals and our hopes in helping the community. I had a chance to share the new name with them, and they both said that they liked it, which was good news. I know I speak for all three of us when I say that we are truly proud of how LCNB's phenomenal staff and volunteers have taught students for 60 years, and we all very much look forward to the next chapter. So I think it is finally time to announce our new name. Who's excited? I'd really like to invite our staff to come to the front because this has just been a tremendous moment for all of us and something that I'd really like us all to share together with you. My team who always stands in the back. All right, how about if we do a countdown together, starting at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are now the English Empowerment Center, where you learn English and change your life. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the why behind the change, because so many of you have cared so much about this organization for so long. The summary really is new name, same mission, expanding our reach. We really wanted to include the word English in the name and books in the logo, because this seemed to much more intuitively represent the services that we offer. Our hope is that this alignment between the name and our mission will increase our ability to spread the word about the services that we offer and enhance our fundraising potential. We love that having the word empowerment in our name, and you were right to notice the books on the back table, demonstrates that our mission goes beyond teaching English basics. We empower our learners to communicate with their healthcare providers, to take a more active role in their children's education, to communicate confidently with their work supervisors, to learn digital literacy skills or learn how to use computers, and to participate in their communities. The pandemic forced us to figure out how to teach virtually, and in so doing, this has enabled us to expand to serve learners in 18 different states and multiple countries, well beyond Northern Virginia. And for as long as there is a need, we will continue to drive this geographic growth. Finally, the tagline underscores the profound effect our curriculum has on learners to learn English and ultimately change their lives. We hope you feel as inspired as we do. We hope you feel awe as you consider that the work of this organization over the past 60 years has made a lasting change in this community. And we hope you feel confident that the English Empowerment Center is poised to empower English language learners to equitably participate and significantly contribute to Northern Virginia and beyond. Speaking of empowering, I am honored to invite to the stage Ms. Ramona Carroll with the Community Impact Unit of Fairfax County. About 70% of the English Empowerment Center's students are Fairfax County residents, and we are very thankful for the many ways that we get support from the county. Through funding, through countless partnerships, and to frequently being asked to sit at the table to provide input on what we know that our learners face and what our learners could use when other human services offerings are being considered. Ramona is the program manager of the Community Impact Unit with the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services. She has over 20 years of experience working for Fairfax County government as an influencer, capacity builder, facilitator, and convener. She is experienced in policy analysis, project management, mediation, and crisis intervention. As a subject matter expert, Ms. Carroll focuses on building intersectional, collaborative networks and partnerships between counties, schools, community organizations, and residents to make systemic changes that improve the quality of life of Fairfax County residents. Ramona has a bachelor's in social work from Temple University and a master's in social work from Virginia Commonwealth University. We have leaned on Ramona as a thought partner many times over many years when planning our programs. And we have seen the significant value in being part of the inclusive collaborative networks and partnerships that she continually works to develop. She truly knows and cares about our learners and understands their needs. So we're so pleased to have you here today to share your thoughts on our new name. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I guess I'm the first speaker for the English Empowerment Center. Is that right? I'm very excited about that and honored to have the opportunity to speak with you all today. I want to thank Rupal and Michael and the board and the staff of the English Empowerment Center for having me here today to give a few remarks. And I also want to bring greetings from my agency director, Lloyd Tucker, who couldn't be here today. I want to thank you for your impact and commitment to the community for the past 60 years, and we look forward to working with you and continuing our relationship going forward. To all the students in the room, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your perseverance. And I'm honored to be in this space with you. Okay. Yeah. So I'm a good social worker. Okay, so I'm a good social worker. And if you know social workers, you know we like theories because we like to look at how things and people and communities interact with each other. So my favorite one is systems theory, because you get to look at how different organizations and systems interact with a family or a community, and then in turn, how that community or family interacts with those systems and organizations and how they interact with each other, and what we can do to improve the quality of life for those that we're serving. So when thinking about empowerment and what that meant, I went and I started thinking, okay, what does empowerment mean? And what could I say about empowerment? And I found the social empowerment theory. I found an article. This is from the United Way of the National Capital Area. This is from an article that was written earlier today. So I'm just going to read just a few things to help us kind of ground ourselves and to think about what this looks like going forward. Social empowerment is the process of building the autonomy, power, confidence, and other necessary means to enact change and pave the way for a better future. Social empowerment takes place both at the individual and the collective level. For individuals, social empowerment could look like gaining the inner and outer resources to make personal choices, such as what to eat, where to live, and other decisions that allow us to control our environment and way of life. On a collective level, which would include all of us here in this room, social empowerment looks like organizations and institutions that help marginalized groups of people gain access to the resources to be empowered. And such material assets, good health, education, social belonging, self-esteem, self-confidence, and economic opportunity. So this is definitely in line with the English Empowerment Center when we think about what social empowerment is. And I want to just give us a few things to think about. And it really is the impact of empowerment, the ripple effect, if you will, of empowerment. So if you all would just indulge me for a moment and think about a time in your life when you felt empowered. When you took a step to do something that was out of your comfort zone, you took a step to do something to better yourself. You took a step to do something that maybe people in your community, your culture, your social economic sense didn't see before, and that you did something. How did you feel? Right? It gives you a sense of confidence. And if you're like me, you're running, you're telling everybody, guess what I did? I passed this test. I got this job. I learned how to drive. I got into school. I got that job. I took an English class. I passed the test of the English class. I'm taking the next one. I now have a future that looks different and brighter than what I thought before. And those are ripples, right? If you talk about 60 years of the English Empowerment Center, it's a ripple effect. For every student that's come through the doors of this center and those that are coming, there's going to be a ripple effect. They will feel more empowered. They will feel a shift in power where they are. They will have new possibilities and an increased sense of purpose. Because when you are empowered, you have more confidence to engage. As Rupal mentioned, you can talk to your child's school. You show up at your healthcare facility differently. You show up in your workplace differently. And most importantly for us, you show up in your community differently. Your voice is heard when we talk about community input and inclusive engagement and engaging all of our community members. Your voices will now be heard and you will be at the table and informing us of what we do as organizations and systems that provide services to community members. So I want us to think about those three ripples. Power, so a shift in power. When people are empowered, we see a shift in power. Possibilities, the doors that are opened when people are empowered, and the increased possibilities and understanding of what those possibilities could be. And purpose, having a renewed sense of purpose. So it's not only for the students that are in the room, but it's also for us as organizations. As we begin to think about the ripple effects and what that looks like, we don't want to be barriers or create hindrances. We want to think about intentionally lifting up the voices of students, creating the ripples, enhancing the ripples, and making sure the ripples have long-term, long-lasting effects and go beyond this point in time. So as we think about the next 60 years for the English Empowerment Center and thinking about the impact that those students that are in the room right now will have for years and generations to come, when we think about their lives, their children's lives, know that they love their communities and how they will be advocates and the future employment opportunity and sense of purpose and confidence they will have by being a part of this. Let us remember that as organizations and institutions, we also have a role in creating a more just and equitable society. And that means making sure that we are supporting the efforts and the students who walk through these doors. So in parting, I just would like to say, may we all feel, sense, and be overwhelmed by the positivity of empowerment.
Thank you so much for those words. I love what you said about a deeper connection to purpose and the power to engage. So thank you for that. As a very small token of our appreciation, we have a gift for you, which you can now. Yes, you can open it. Yes, it's a big reveal. What a wonderful evening this has been. Am I right? So now, as the English Empowerment Center, I can say that no English Empowerment Center event would ever be complete without hearing directly from our learners. So we had a chance to talk to some of our learners and ask them about what the word empower meant to them. And we would like for you to hear their thoughts. In one moment.
Hi, my name is Melvin, and I'm a student for this school. I coming to practice English. The English is important for my job, for my family, and for wherever you go. Is much better for speak for the, maybe I go for the store, I need help for my son for school. Everything is good for the life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Malaysia Wood. I come to study English here 2 years ago. First time I come here is very new word because I'm not much good language. But I come here now I'm be good language. Now I'm 3 level. Maybe confident about when I go restaurant, I can read the menu. I can go pharmacy when I get a sick. I can ask about to medicine and I can make me feel better. and I go to take a driver license. I make me feel good. I go anywhere, make me feel good because now I'm good like getting better. Also, thank you, this year. English education empowers me to for communication for the neighborhood, for the school, for a better work and communication for friends.
So the reason why I want to learn English is for to get a better job and to counterwork with others.
English education empowers me to get a good job and to communicate better with my son and some friends.
English empower me to take the bus.
English empower me to go to class. English empower me to work.
In English education empower me to have the better communication with the people and the friends and the contribution with the country.
I want to use for a good communication for people's for kind of good job or kind of more friends.
English education empowered me to get a better job, and I go when I go to the doctor. Hi, my name is Samen. This is my husband, Tira. Yes. Hi, friend. Today I'm happy for the study English class. I like for the learn English more every day because we speak English a little. It's not too much English, but I need to learn more. Sometimes every day I go to work, but I need to change work. I need to apply more. I need to talk more, but maybe
English education empowers me to feel confident and to conversate freely with people all around the world.
Wow, I have the goosebumps. That's emotional. And it really speaks to really what this new brand is all around, empowering people to be able to live their lives, change their lives. Really remarkable. We wanted to thank all of the students who shared their thoughts and thank all of you. Many of you play a really important part in all of this, whether you're volunteers in tutoring and teaching. Thank you for your support and for being here. So we have two last items of today's program before we go ahead and close out. The first is a call to action for all of you who are here tonight. Did you know that we at the English Empowerment Center only charge $85 for a full semester of classes? This $85 includes books, assessments, and additional supplemental services like tutoring. Now, that might not seem like a lot of money, but for nearly 50% of our learners, they're living below the federal poverty line, which is $27,700 for a family of four. And on average, about 25% of our learners ask for and receive financial assistance for part or all of their tuition. Given the current economy, last year, over a third of our learners asked for and received tuition assistance. It's important to know that we never turn down a student because of their inability to pay. Our actual costs per student cover around $800. This falls within the national average for adult English programs. But as we serve nearly 1,500 learners annually, filling this gap of what people can afford and what our costs are accounts for a sizable portion of our budget. In 2008, we established a scholarship fund to help mitigate the loss of income by giving tuition assistance. This fund was supported by a generous donor until they passed away in 2016. Since then, we have not been able to find another funder, and the loss of income due to the scholarship programs is coming out of our general operating fund. Again, we never turn away a student for an inability to pay, and as we celebrate this new chapter of the English Empowerment Center, what we're looking for this evening are supplementary donations to replenish our scholarship fund. And we are very excited to announce that an extremely generous donor has made a substantial contribution so that up to $5,000 of the funds that we receive tonight will be completely matched. So what we would ask that you do is that you please consider giving to the English Empowerment Center so that we can continue to change lives of our learners. You can do this by scanning the QR code that's located on your program and the cards that you will find around the room this evening. Next, before you leave, and Amy alluded to this before, there are goodies for everyone that is here tonight. So we are asking that before you leave, you make sure that you take an English Empowerment Center notebook and a pen. There's one for everyone, because we hope that you will all be proud to let others know that you were here celebrating this special day with us this evening, when our new name and our new brand was announced. As you celebrate, consider taking a picture and consider posting it on social media. We would love to spread the word about our new name. And we know that all of you, because you are so connected to this organization and you're so filled with passion and purpose and connection, are the best people to help us do this. So can you do that? Can you take a couple of pictures and try to get it out on social? English Empowerment Center. All right, with that, I am standing between you and totally delicious food and the ability to mingle and talk and celebrate and enjoy each other's company. So I just want to say one more time, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everything you do on behalf of the English Empowerment Center. And please make sure that you enjoy the great food and company that we have here this evening. And thank you for being here.